lawn areas, as I was just talking about. And then the park police giving us some detail on what they're investigating at this point. That shooting, one person taken to a hospital, one person in custody, not clear if that's perhaps the same person, and that could easily be with maybe police officers outside that hospital room. President Obama is golfing at Joint Andrews Base right now. He is not currently in the White House. The president is not in the White House. We don't have much more detail in terms of that. But let's go to Peter Doocy, with more on this. He's near the White House. Peter, what can you tell me about the kind of staffing numbers or whatever would be inside that White House right now?
Harris, well, I can tell you right now about what we see outside. We're on the 15th Avenue side of the White House, where there is one of the main entrances for staff, and we just arrived there. And from our position, we saw a motorcade leaving the Pennsylvania Avenue side, coming down toward us, and the Secret Service agents ran into the street, yelling VIP, VIP. They closed traffic, and then that motorcade left very quickly. Every agent that we've seen has a big gun today, which is not something that you always see if there's not a high-profile event going on. And right now we are making our way down toward the Washington Monument because we can see the Park Police helicopter hovering overhead, and we think that this might be where some of the action was a little while ago, Harris.
All right. This I'm learning, too. The area just west of the White House, people are now saying that they saw police and ambulances there at the scene. And so now I'm curious to know, because we do know of a so-called casualty. We know one person was taken to the hospital. We don't know if that's the same, in fact, one individual. But now the reports of police and ambulances, what are you seeing? Maybe what are you hearing? Peter, are you still with us?
Yeah, sorry. I was just talking to one of the park police officers who's here doing crowd control. He did not seem to have anything for us. But as we make our way, lots of sirens. It does seem like, given how rapidly this has unfolded, some of the law enforcement is having a tough time keeping all of the tourists out of the streets. They're trying to keep the streets clear, and it looks like they're having a hard time. And I can tell you, Harris, that I'm looking right now at a horse that's being spooked by some of the loud sirens. There is a rush now of police cars toward the crime scene. We're almost there.
All right. I want to get this breaking news point in, and it may speak to the issue of why they're starting to try to hold people back even farther. You know what? This is just a time of year. It's a beautiful day in our nation's capital. You're going to have a lot of tourists, especially moving into this weekend, the weekend before Memorial Day. You have a lot of kids who are off all next week. So you got a lot of people in Washington, D.C., and many of us as children, you would have traveled there at this time. So there are just a lot of tourists there. CBS News is reporting this, and so we would have to confirm this on our own. But there is another media outlet reporting that a Secret Service officer has been shot in the stomach after a suspect pulled a gun. Again, Fox News is not confirming this. We are reporting it. They are citing the Secret Service in all of this. Please tell me that James Rosen is ready, because I know that with this piece of information, he's in the room with a lot of other journalists right now, and sometimes I know you'll talk amongst yourselves about these things. James, what sourcing have you been able to do?
Well, Harris, good afternoon again from the press briefing room here, where we remain on lockdown. The White House has, for the moment, eased up on trying to push us down to the basement, but we remain trapped, essentially, here in the building with the doors that exit out onto the North Lawn locked. We have now multiple reports, both from our own personnel and from our competitors and so forth, about at least one person having been shot and apparently taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. We have conflicting reports, however, whether that individual was someone who approached the White House with a gun, refused to drop it, or whether, in fact, it is a Secret Service officer who was shot. But our early reporting from our Chad Pergram, our senior congressional reporter, thus far appears to be holding up, which was to the effect that one person was shot in this incident, and that there was what we call a fatality, a casualty, but not but not necessarily a fatality.
All right, I'm going to step in and kind of augment this. So CBS News is reporting Secret Service officer has shot a suspect in the stomach after the suspect pulled a gun. So I want to get on the record and get that clarified and corrected. This is according to their reporting. CBS News reporting Secret Service officer has shot a suspect in the stomach after suspect pulled a gun. They are citing the Secret Service. We are working to determine that. So I did not get it correct before with that Secret Service officer. I want to get on the record and get that right now. In either case, this is a very serious situation, in part because of where this has happened. This is very close, James, to the White House along West Executive Drive, an area that Leland and I were talking about, that you need to go to different gates and checkpoints to get checked by the Secret Service. You would have been cleared and vetted to use that Executive Drive to access the White House and or its executive buildings. The other point that I want to make in all of this, just in terms of where we've been in the history recently, with incidents at the White House and the Secret Service and people gaining access and jumping fences, this is extremely alarming, given the fact that you've had so much activity like that.
Of course, and the Secret Service has come in for its lumps in recent years about a number of security incidents, from that couple, that sort of status-seeking couple that managed to get inside a state dinner without permission, to individuals who have jumped the fence and even made their way into the White House, and individuals who were able to jump the fence even after it was fortified with extra fencing put up to make it higher. In this case, we're obliged to point out that President Obama was never in jeopardy here, as he has been golfing, enjoying this rare lull in the rain here in the capital city. He's been golfing out at Joint Base Andrews, which is about a 25-minute drive for his motorcade from the White House, so no danger to the president in this incident, but also not a lot of information coming out of the Secret Service just yet. We were told when we contacted the Secret Service that all of their public information officers were being briefed on this very situation, and so could not disclose any information to us, Harris.
James Rosen, still inside the briefing room. They are sequestered there. James, thank you very much for your reporting from inside that briefing room. He's one of the members of the media inside that. They have been told that they must stay there. There are other crew, staff, news crew, people who were throughout the White House who we're told are in the basement downstairs area of the White House waiting for the all-clear signal. But we are being told now, per our Leland Bittert, who was outside, and our Peter Ducey, that this scene is playing out outside the building where there's been a shooting not far from the White House, and that their investigation, which now includes the FBI's Capitol Response Team on site to help those local authorities, could take a while. So we could see this lockdown go on for at least the next few minutes. Now, what I can tell you is that away from the White House, onto the parks that are across the street and down the street, police have begun to clear those areas as well. And then a CBS News report, which we at Fox News are working to confirm, a Secret Service officer has shot a suspect in the stomach after that suspect pulled a gun. FBI's Capitol Response. We can tell you